Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to talk to you guys about the new episode of Fate Strange Fate, which is on episode 6. This episode right here was nice to see Saber, Ayaka Sajo, and Enkidu, and many others in action, and things are about to get more hectic considering what's to come. So, if anything else, let's just get this started right away. We get to see that Saber is trying to, make an alliance apparently, and things are not really looking so great for Ayaka Sojo. Well, for her that is. She pretty much is a little stressed out considering that she was forced into this Grail War, which she would never want to be a part of. Which understandable. I mean, something like that's gonna freak you out, especially when Saber, her servant currently, is trying to form an alliance with Enkidu. And we all know how strong Enkidu is. We've seen what this servant was capable of. If you know the lore between like Archer and Enkidu, or should I say Gilgamesh and Enkidu, then you'll understand that these guys are really top-notch servants. Very dangerous servants, but Gilgamesh is like the wild card. Like just don't anger him and he won't kill you, kind of thing. As for this other chick, which I don't know, what's her name again? Franca or something like that. I think that's the yeah, Francesca. She was trying to like spy on Saber but couldn't find him anywhere. So I guess that's when they are in a bounded field. As for the other guy, Orlando, he's trying to make his own preparations after after getting some information about like about the Red Saber guy, or I'll just call him Saber, the male Saber. In other cases, we get to see him fighting against Enkidu. This is like saying, like, Enkidu's like, hey, I don't know how strong you are, but I have only one person that's like a friend, and I want to see how you fare off against me. If you can't really seem to handle me, you'll be in a whole lot of trouble when you face him. I mean, that's Enkidu's one and only friend, which Gilgamesh will agree to. And we all know Gilgamesh's personality is a little, like, high on egomania, not adding on to, like, he's very strong. So Enkidu, in other words, wants to test Saber into action, see what he's capable of. And we get to see Saber's abilities. He's very strong, that much is to be certain. But adding on to that, he actually using a move called Excalibur with just a stick. So this is to show that he ain't no joke either. But this is where it comes more crazy, where Enkidu actually blocked that attack like no problem with a weapon of his own on his body. So I go like, well. This is a saying like, hey, you're strong, but I'm stronger. That Enkidu shows, and we get to see that I guess the alliance is formed, but Ayaka Sajo was not very happy about this and was screaming and yelling at Saber for doing something reckless. And I think we get to know a little small backstory about Ayaka Sajo. Although it's a possibility, I don't think it's really confirmed. It has yet to be. I don't know. Not much I will say. Other than what was shown here, Ayaka Sajo possibly reminiscing, we get to see that Saber tells her not to worry too much, and Ayaka's like, hey man, I might be betraying you, selling you out kind of thing, so why the hell are you even not being so carefree? And Sable's like, hey man, I've been betrayed and been on the road to being killed many times. Not to mention, I've always been the guy to bring war to many countries and kingdoms. So after much has happened, we get to see the assassin servant actually meeting Enkidu and Saber and Ayaka. And we get to see here that these three decides to form an alliance until three major threats are out of the picture. So until then, they're like, okay, we'll form a partnership for now and put a ceasefire. Until then, until the three threats they have in mind that they want to get rid of is eliminated. Gilgamesh, who apparently is watching from afar, is actually very amused or actually impressed to see Enkidu having some energy. or having an alliance. Gilgamesh tells Tina to work up plenty of magical energy because he doesn't know how much he'll be spending from here on out. Although Tina is like, use as much as you have to if it means to fulfill my goal. Although Gilgamesh ends up lecturing her properly about no matter how good your resolve, your child will still be a child. You gotta have some good self-esteem for yourself. Even though I know how much resolve you got, you need to have some kind of other goal to. You gotta be a proud one with great self-esteem. Those who lack self-esteem will lack it even in the age as you're older. So we have to it that Gilgamesh, despite him being the High King and dangerous one at fact, he is a guy who's more likely a teacher as well, trying to help Tina to gain her self-esteem or self-confidence. Don't think that just because you got the resolve, that doesn't mean you're any better than anyone else out there. So he's not much of a bad person. Well, I guess I'm overreacting or oversaying this, but if you stay in your bounds and just not anger him, he's willing to at least treat you as one of his own subjects or subordinates, even though you're a mongrel or just a temporary one. Showcases that he's not that crazy tyrant as we all think he is. He knows when to like possibly help when it counts and teach. I mean, we've seen it before. If you've seen it now, well, pretty crazy. We get to see Lord El Malloy, or Waver, if I had to say so myself, knows about Ayaka Sajo, and he knows that this person is actually one of his students, and wants to confirm it with her directly, but who knows. Then we get to see a scene that happened in last week's episode where someone was at the house where Assassin suggests Saber and Ayaka to like make a base at a home in the forest. And it's kind of crazy because this is where like when the assassin tries to kill the boy, we get to see Saber stopping her because I guess they had an alliance beforehand, and it picks up from last week's episode. So what happened in this episode, like before in last week's episode, is the alliance between Enkidu, Saber, and Assassin. So yeah, what we saw was a little small filler of what happened. Well, I'm not really sure if I should call it filler. If it happened in the novel, which I don't know, then it happened in there. Sorry for being confusing. All I can really tell you, like when it came to like the certain around at least close to 18 minutes, is where last week's episode gets picked off. So Saber stops Assassin's attack on the boy and says, "Hey, can we talk for a bit?" And we get to see Ayaka having a dream of having some kind of memory dream with her Saber class servant. Eventually, as she wakes up, she apologizes and makes amends with Saber, saying sorry for yelling and putting a lot of selfishness on you. He goes like, "Hey, don't get worked up on something trivial, okay?" So yeah, everything seems okay. And before they can continue talking about what's going on here and there, we get to see someone trying to knock on the door and says, "Hey, can we talk now?" or something like that. And beforehand, we go to a certain hospital scene involving flat and his servant, I believe, who's pretty much like scouting out a hospital. And right now, like, I guess his servant, which I believe Jack the Ripper, is about to like cause some trouble or go into action. But Flat tells him, hey, let's not get out of hand, alright? We don't really know if this one is an enemy or an ally. And Jack the Ripper's like, okay, fine. Until then, I'll like back off for now. So, yeah. Whatever the situation is, we get to see a certain scene. We get to see a certain scene where I believe a servant or someone in the hospital ends up in a room of a patient and says, "Well, someone right now, no, something just visited," and ends up looking at the person and smiles, and the episode ends off there. So, yeah. So throughout like most of the episode, this involves Saber trying to make an alliance with Enkidu, and we get to see how strong Saber is, but Enkidu is a little stronger in my opinion. Well, we haven't really seen that they haven't gone all out yet, so who knows who is stronger. As for the assassin, all three of them, Saber, Enkidu, and the assassin, make an alliance with each other. And later, the last episode's ending gets picked off after reaching a certain 18, almost close to 18-minute mark. And this is where Ayaka and Saber make their base right there to rest up, and then they get interrupted. And then I believe like Flat and his servant, I believe Jack the Ripper, in the form of a woman now, ends up scouting the hospital and was about to do something crazy, but Flat says, no, don't get out of hand. We don't know if this person is an enemy or an ally, so let's not lose it. Let's not go crazy right now. So, and then I believe a person or a servant is in a patient's room right now and smiles at the end after staring at that person. So, it looks like to me it may get a little very high intense. Other than that, thought the episode was really nice to see. It went by pretty quick, and it was like, whoa! I was so hooked into it. I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was almost towards the end anyway. So until then, I'll see you guys later. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace out. Bye bye. Toot toot.